Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Morning Brew on Political Social. I am Graham Hughes. So it is the 7th of February, Friday the 7th of February, 2025. Jesus, after the 749 days of January, I was hoping that February might trot along at a fair old rate, but it's really not. It started off just as bad as the second half of January with the leader of the free world, with more proclamations of absolute fucking lunacy. The big one being this week being about ethnically cleansing the whole of the Gaza Strip. Gaza just being gone, being taken away, being subsumed into some kind of greater Israel or an American colony or the 51st American state or whatever you want to call it. Ethnic cleansing, genocide, promoted by the US president and backed by the most evil people on the planet, of whom he is one. Then we've also got this leaked document that came out. I don't know if you saw this. This is about Trump's plan for Ukraine, which essentially ends up giving Putin everything he wants, and then makes the EU pay for the rebuilding of Ukraine. Not Russia, not Putin. No. But I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about Nazis today because I don't think we talk about this enough. And I really do feel like I don't think we're sleepwalking into this because I think a lot of people have got, they're aware of what's going on. Their eyes are open. They can see, the dark path that we are taking at the moment. But I think it's really important that we reassert what is happening because we've got to make hate not war at the moment. We have to get people to hate Trump, people to hate Musk, okay? And there is a shortcut, there is a cheat code for getting people to hate people like Musk. You have to make sure that those people know that he is a Nazi, and then you have to make the connection between the greatest generation and them fighting the Nazis and make the connection saying, hang on, were they the bad guys? Were the greatest generation? My granddad, who was in the Royal Navy from 39 to 45, was he doing the wrong thing? Was he attacking those poor persecuted Nazis? Was he? No. So we need to turn that on its head. We also need to turn on its head this DEI thing, and I want you to do this every time some prick brings up this DEI thing, right? All DEI is an opportunity for the people who are not PSM to get into jobs, and in order for them to get into those jobs, they need to be supremely qualified. They don't get unqualified people into these jobs because of DEI. They actually get more qualified people overall because you're not getting the PSM people as much, who normally dominate everything. What are the PSM people, Graham? The private school mafia. Go to privateschoolmafia.com. Have a look at that fucking list that I've made online. There's 1,200 names on it. Household names. Just mainly British people. But Donald Trump's name's on there. Elon Musk's name's on there because of the circumstances of the way he went to school and the fact it turned into a private school while he was there. Keir Starmer's on the list. Ed Davies on the list. Richard Tice is on the list. That other little moron, what's his name? Farage. Nigel Farage is on the list. Kemi Badnoch is on the list. Rishi Sunak is on the list. Theresa May's on the list. Cameron, Boris Johnson, Rees-Mogg, Gove, Cummings, Aaron Banks, Andy Wigmore. I'm not reading a list here. This is just off the top of my head. Isabel Oakeshit. Like, everyone you see on TV, everyone you see in a movie, everyone who gets to make a movie, everyone who gets to publish a book, everyone who gets to do a fun and exciting job, has this, probably more times than not, what I call a PSM hire, which is a private school mafia hire. They might be good at their job, but some of them might be fucking terrible, like Matt Hancock, who was a PSM hire, who was so bad at his job that tens of thousands of old people in this country died as a result of him doing that job. So yeah, you might want to point that out. You might want to point people to the privateschoolmafia.com list. And it says at the top, disclaimer, these aren't all bad people. Amano Annucci's on the list. Rick Mail is on the list. Philip Pullman is on the list. They were or are great people. Like, I have no problem with them. But then there's a lot of people on that list I do have a problem with. And I have a problem with mediocrity getting to the very top, pulling the levers of power because they were born rich, because they went to a posh private school, and it's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's what you know about who you know. And if you went to boarding school with someone when you're a teenager, you know shit on them that nobody else does. And you can use that as leverage for the rest of your life, as many people do. And that's why everyone you see on TV went to private school. Pretty much. You can watch TV all fucking day in this country and not see a single leading character played by someone who went to a comp. That's quite remarkable. That is quite, or reporting the news, or presenting a show, or traveling around the world. It very, very rarely happens. And when it does happen, and that person who went to a comp spends their money, their money that they've got through their own talent more than anything else, on the wrong thing, that's going to be a newspaper story. But anyway, back to Nazis. Before we get to that, big shout out to Anne Phillips in the chat. We've also got Reagan Elite in there. We've got Sarah Davis. We've got Lynx Onyx. We've got Scott in there. We've got the Witchy Goth. We've got David Daily Blase. Hey, Darren, how you doing, mate? We've got SG. Do you read the comments below the video after the stream is done? I don't know another way of sharing stuff that is too long out of the chat. Yeah, it depends. I mean, I do try and read all the comments. Obviously, if it's a video that gets like hundreds of comments, I can't get through them all. But I mean, they don't normally get that many. So if you want to make a long drawn out point, please feel free. Well, I won't guarantee that I'll actually read it, but I'll at least guarantee that I will try. If you would like to join our friends in the chat here, the socialites, all you need to do is hit that big juicy subscribe button below the video. And if you see they've got little roses next to some people's names, that means they're a member of the channel. If you would like to become a member of the channel and get access to the Discord server, the Politics Social Discord server for chats after the show, just press the join button if it's available. It's not available for everyone, but if it is available, press the join button. It's only a couple of quid a month, and you get a little rose after your name. Yeah, who doesn't want that? And your name at the end of the show. Okay, so let's talk about Musk. Let's talk about Nazism. So Musk is a Nazi. Anyone who drives a Tesla is now a Nazi by association. So if you are driving a Tesla, can you please sell it as soon as possible? And if you don't drive a Tesla, but you see a Tesla, you might want to remind the person who's driving the Tesla that they're driving a Nazi car. A car that is owned by, a company that is owned by a Nazi. How can you say that, Graham? How can you say he's a Nazi? Well, first of all, there was the Nazi salute he did. Sorry, 2 Nazi salutes that he did, in case you missed the first one, during Trump's inauguration event. He spoke at an AfD rally, appearing on a big screen like Big Fucking Brother, telling them to not be so scared about, about the past. You got to leave the past to the past, haven't you? You can't just keep beating yourself up about that time that the Nazi Party took over the state apparatus in Germany, which led to the deaths of tens of millions of people. That's what happened last time. So let's do that again, eh? Because maybe this time it'll work, okay? Is that the thinking? Are you that thick? Honestly, are people out there who are so fucking stupid, they go, oh yeah, you know what? That last time we had Nazis in, yeah. And I know that tens of millions of people died, but I'm pretty sure I won't be one of them this time. And neither will anyone that I know and love. No one. No, none of my friends, none of my family. No one's going to get caught up in this. You've got to be pretty fucking lonely and pretty fucking sick in the head to think that many people dying is going to have no fucking effect on you. I'm pretty fucking stupid as well. I mean, there is some kind of like childish naivety associated with the Nazi Party, which is this. They tapped into the same thing that Murdoch tapped into, that Rothermere tapped into, who's a big supporter. His family were big supporters of the Nazis. That people just don't want to think. There's lazy people out there who can't be arsed thinking. They would rather some toxic billionaire born a million years ago on the other side of the fucking planet, Rupert Murdoch, gets to do all their thinking for them. Because they're too fucking lazy. You might want to point that out to them. Don't call them stupid. I mean, we can call them stupid. I can call them stupid. You can call them stupid behind their backs. But when you're actually talking to them, just ask them, why are you so fucking lazy? Like, why would you just allow this to happen? You know what happened in the past. Everyone fucking knows what's happened in the past. We've had World War II rammed down our throats by the fucking boomers who didn't even fucking fight the war. The greatest generation who did fight the war set up the IMF, set up the USA. They set up the EU. They set up all these things that the World Bank. They set up the United Nations. They set up the refugee agencies of the United Nations. That's what the greatest generation did. My generation didn't do that, and the boomers sure as fuck didn't do that. It was the people who fought the fucking war who did that. And now all that those people fought and died for in World War II, fighting fascism, has all come to nothing. Because here we are, nearly 100 years later, and what are we doing? We're literally going backwards. We are going backwards, back into the dark days of the fucking Nazis, led by the richest man in the world, who earlier this week slapped food out of the mouths of starving babies. He took medicine. He stole medicine from the medicine cabinet in a house where a newborn baby was going to die if it didn't get the medicine it needed. But that's fine. No, that's fine. That's fine, because he's the richest man in the world. He can do that kind of thing, He has been elected after... Oh, no, he hasn't been elected at all. Anyway, so not just talking at the AfD, but also Musk's support for right-wing groups, Musk's support for Tommy Robinson, who is a Nazi. Musk's political views, he promotes libertarian ideals, which is Nazism for rich people. It's anarchy for rich people. It's this idea of we shouldn't have to pay any tax. You don't have to pay for the poor. Oh, my daddy owned an emerald mine, don't you know? I don't have to pay for that. I don't have to pay for anything. I can afford my own private police force. I can afford my own private ambulance to take me to my private hospital. I can afford private schools for my 27 illegitimate children because, I'm a billionaire. Everyone else can just F off and die, which is just the most ridiculous aspect of this sort of late stage capitalism, where these fucking wankers obsessed with cryptocurrency and bullshit and just making up things that end up being worth apparently a shitload of money. Is it 80 million people live in Germany? Oh, sorry, I just dropped out. I got a little biggity bong telling me I dropped out. Anyway, talking about Teslas, like it's not worth that much as a car company. Its stock is going down massively. Its sales have plummeted in Germany. They've gone down 60%. January from last year to January this year, 60%. It's worth fuck all. Twitter, I mean, it's not on the stock exchange anymore, but he's fucked it. He's absolutely, but he doesn't care because money doesn't matter to these people, and they don't see the link between industry, between you working, you creating stuff, you actually going out and doing something, making something, manufacturing something. They don't see that. All they do is move money around and make money out the fact that money moves around. That's what they do. That's what these fucking horrible little oligarchs fucking do. And Musk is the absolute worst of them. In 2023, Musk supported a post accusing Jewish communities of stoking racial hatred against white people. Sorry, most of the Jews I know are white. Why would they? What? But he promoted that. He's also people say that he's not a Nazi. He's an opportunist. I say fuck off. If it walks like a Nazi, it quacks like a Nazi, it's a fucking Nazi. His grandparents, right, were from Canada, and they were part of the Canadian Nazi Party. He's never denounced them. They moved to South Africa because it more fitted with their ideals. Their ideals being a world in which white people are in charge and black people are enslaved. And he's never renounced that. The guy is a Nazi. The guy is a Nazi born and bred. He always was. He was just masking for a long time to get people on side and pretending to be the savior of the world. I'm going to save us all from climate change. Well, actually doing everything he could to accelerate climate change. So, for example, what he did with his boring company, this Hyperloop bullshit, all that was to do was to try and stop the high-speed rail line being built between LA and San Francisco. A high-speed rail line tried and tested 1,000 times in 1,000 different places in 200 fucking countries. Well, not 200 countries, but in dozens of countries around the world. High-speed rail, it's just there. We know it works. It's not a Hyperloop. It's not a monorail. It's not fucking compression air or maglev or whatever fucking space age technology that dickheads pull out their arse and go, oh, look at this space age technology. No, use the rails that we've had for over 200 fucking years, the things that fucking work, all right? Because It works. And if a train breaks down, you can put the train on the other fucking line really easily. Try and do that with a fucking monorail, mate. Put the monorail on another line to go round the one that's broken down. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See how far you get with that. Jesus Christ. Anyway, well said. Hate it when the boomer generation say they fought in the war. No, they didn't, but they did benefit from the sacrifices made by previous generations, says Chris C. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Abso-fucking-lutely. And I just hope heaven doesn't exist, because I hate the idea of the greatest generation looking down at what we are doing right now and just fucking crying their eyes out. Like, what did I lose all my friends for? You know, why did I get me fucking legs blown off on fucking D-Day for this? For this to be the situation in the 20s? Surely we should have got past this by now. And then there's Musk given £277 million, £250 million of, if you bought a Tesla, I guess some of that's the money that you gave him to get Trump re-elected, which, arguably he did. That it only came down to 1 million voters, which is less than 1%. I mean, it's about a third of the percent of the American population. I know kids and certain people can't vote, but I mean, not taking the electorate into account, it's less than a third of a percent that separated the 75 million that Kamala got and the 77 million that Trump got. If 1 million people had voted the other way, Kamala would have won. All right, that's just counting, as James O'Brien loves to say. And so, yeah, just like that idea that one man can have so much power, especially in immigrants. I mean, that's the funniest thing about this. This reminds me again. This is why I think, Elon Musk is a Nazi. And I think it's really important that we say Elon Musk is a Nazi, because Elon Musk is a Nazi. And it's very important that we say that as often as possible. But when you look at Adolf Hitler, you're like, who did he complain about? Well, he complained about people who went Aryan. This idea of the Aryan race, which was created as pseudoscience. The Nazis love their pseudoscience. This is why they say there's things like there's only two genders. It's pseudoscience. That's why they say there's no such thing as climate change or global warming. Pseudoscience, yes. They probably think the world is flat as well. Pseudoscience, they're that type of people who fall for this bullshit all the time because they can't be arsed thinking. They want someone else to do the thinking for them. And so they'll trot out absolute bullshit, and people will go for it. It's a mark of, the Nazi regime of what they do. But like the idea that this guy has given so much money to this campaign that is vehemently anti-immigration. It's so much so they've already set up within 24 hours of him getting inaugurated. He set up a fucking concentration camp in Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, right? Fucking hell. Musk is a fucking immigrant. Trump's wife is an immigrant. Trump's previous fucking wife was an immigrant. The one that he buried in his fucking golf course, probably with some top secret government documents, which he's had moved back from the FBI had those documents. He's had them moved back to the White House, by the way. He can sell them to the highest bidder. He's talking about pulling out the IMF and the World Bank. That is going to destroy so many people's lives. So many people's lives. I think they'll pull out the UN as well, by the looks of things. He's already pulled out of the climate change accord from Paris in 2015. He's already pulled out of the World Health Organization, which is mind-blowing. And Millie has followed suit in Argentina. Javier Milei he's pulled out Argentina from the World Health Organization. And you could argue that America doesn't need the World Health Organization as much as Argentina does. But America still needs the World Health Organization. Fuck me, if there is another pandemic, well, you know what? Trump oversaw the deaths of 500,000 Americans last time he was in office and there was a pandemic. So maybe that'll happen again. I don't know. Mach 7 radio intercepts. To those fuckers, merit is born, not made. Absolutely. They are the PSM. They are the private school mafia. When we look at these people, we have to look at them. And even if they're people that we like, we have to, sigh with a heavy heart and say, PSM higher. oh, look, it's another PSM hire. Have a look, privateschoolmafia.com. I'm sorry to, there's no adverts on this site. I don't make any money from it. Just have a look at it. Have a look at that fucking list. Bookmark it on your phone. So when you meet some clanging dickhead who goes, oh, fucking DEI hire, oh, it's stopping me from getting a job. No, dickhead. That's not what's stopping you getting a job. What's stopping you getting a job is the fact that you're a fucking dickhead. But what's also stopping you getting a job is the fact that all the best jobs, all the best paid jobs, all the fun jobs are all absolutely dominated by PSM hires, like Elon Musk, like Trump, like every fucking political leader of every fucking political party in England. It's quite impressive, really, when you think about it. Apart from the Greens, I don't think the two leaders of the Greens, Carla Dania and the other guy whose name just escapes me momentarily, but it'll come back, I'm sure. What's the name of the co-leader of the Ramsey, something like Adrian Ramsey. I don't think they went to private school, or at least I can't find evidence that they went to private school. They might have done. I don't know. It's very interesting, isn't it? If you went to a comp. And you do well. Fuck me. You never shut up about it, do you? It's like that joke about, how do you know someone's a vegetarian? Don't worry, they'll tell you. No diss on vegetarians, by the way. It's just a joke. But yeah, if someone went to a comp and did well, they'll let you know. But if someone went to a private school and did well, they tend to be a bit embarrassed about it because they know deep down that probably, somewhere along the line it was their privilege that got them that plum job rather than their actual talents, maybe. Maybe. There's a lot of talented people out there. But can you do me a favour, posh people, making posh films about posh people? That's not all we do in this fucking country, isn't it? Every film is about rich people. Like, every fucking film we make is somehow about rich people, except the few that we do kitchen sink dramas, and they portray the working class as miserable, god-awful people who just hate life, don't hate life, but just have horrible lives and then cry and then die. You don't see too many stories, do you, of like a bunch of working class lads just going and having a party and having a laugh and having a really good time and being there for each other. You don't really see that, do you? No. It's always posh fuckers. It's posh fuckers from back in the day. So you've got your period dramas where it's, oh, Miss Pig, who would you like to marry? Mr. Horse or Mr. Donkey? Oh, I don't like Mr. Horse or Mr. Donkey. I want to marry Mr. Badger. Ooh, Badger. Every fucking story. All right. And then you've got the modern ones, which are just the same, really. But, they're like rom-coms written by people like Richard Curtis, who's, he's a good writer. I like him. He did Black Adam and stuff like that. But he is a PSM hire. He just is. He is. But all of his stories about rich people. Like, it's living in Notting Hill. It's like, oh, let's see what rich people are doing. Oh, he's going out with a movie star. Oh, what are rich people doing? They're going to loads of weddings. Can they afford to do that? Yeah, of course they can. They're rich. Yeah, okay. It's all a bit. Anyway, so yeah, back onto Musk. Some argue that Musk backs authoritarian figures because they enable deregulation, benefiting his business ventures. But I think those people are like not seeing the bigger picture. They're seeing like a little bit of it, but they're not zooming out and seeing that Elon Musk is a Nazi. Like, there's no two ways about it. He is doing Nazi things. And he is in a position to ruin the lives of millions, perhaps billions of people around the world who aren't white, who aren't Aryan. Oh, yeah, I was going to mention about it being funny that, Elon Musk is an immigrant and he's supporting people who are very, very anti-immigration. Hitler, with his Aryan shit, he wasn't Aryan, was he? He wasn't a blonde-haired, fucking blue-eyed gobshite. No, he wasn't. He had dark fucking hair. He's still a gobshite. A stupid tash. Because he idolised Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin fucking hated him. Charlie Chaplin made a really good movie called The Great Dictator, where the Nazi symbol was a double cross, which I always liked. And he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant in that movie. It's the best film, by the way. I mean, I don't really find Charlie Chaplin that funny. I still find the Marx Brothers funny. Groucho Marx is still freaking hilarious. The others maybe not so much so, but I mean the Three Stooges, no. Buster Keaton, no. Howard Lloyd. I mean, I appreciate the fact that they did all this technical stuff and they did all their own stunts, and I guess they pushed the medium at the time. but I just don't find it funny. I just don't find it funny. Yeah, so I've seen City Lights and I've seen, all the Charlie Chaplin movies, the Gold Rush and stuff like that. And he's so hungry he eats his shoe. But yeah, The Great Dictator is really good. You could argue it's a dark comedy. I mean, it's not particularly funny because it was made during the war as a propaganda tool for the American government. But it does depress the living shit out of me that Charlie Chaplin, although, let's just leave that whole thing of him marrying a child to one side for a moment. He stood up against fascism, and for his troubles, he was given a one-way ticket to Switzerland because he was outed as a communist by the McCarthy witch trials, and he was banished from Hollywood. He was blacklisted from Hollywood. Just like one of the people who actually made Hollywood what it is, and everyone turned their backs on him. Anyway, it was a different time. Was it? Was it that different? Was it that different? I think if people who don't study history just don't realize how cyclical it is, like how the same things just happen again and again and again. Like the Nazis weren't the first time they were Nazis. There were Nazis before them. There was a Holocaust before the Holocaust. There were the pogroms in Russia and across the Russian-speaking world. I mean, where Jews were driven out by their millions and murdered. So many people were murdered. Not in a state-sanctioned fucking death camp, but still. I mean, and then back through history, there have been purges of Jewish people. And now we're going to have a purge of Palestinian people from Gaza, a place where they've lived for generations and generations and generations, some of them. And Trump's talking about making a fucking golf course or something. And then you've got these knobheads going, he's got very bold plans, very ambitious. No, they're not bold. They're not ambitious. They're fucking evil. That's what they are. They're fucking evil. Fucking ethnic cleansing. That's what they are. Tantamount to genocide. What about Laurel and Hardy? I don't know. My dad was a big Laurel and Hardy fan. He loved Way Out West. Do you know what I used to love as a kid, actually? Do you remember the cartoons? I think it was Hanna-Barbera did cartoons of Laurel and Hardy. I like them. I liked them as a kid. I don't know if I'd like them now, but yeah. They're, a bit more witty. My mate won't hear criticism of Musk, won't acknowledge the salute either. Captain, well, I'm sorry to say this, but I'm going to say what I said to my friend Dino when I took the fourth beer from a six-pack that we were sharing, and I opened it up, and he went, "Hey, that's one of mine." And I just said, "Get better, mates." Sorry, Captain. Just get better, mates. Nick and Diff, just remember, our current governments should last longer than Trump, 5 and 4 years terms, respectively. So from the view of the UK, be less smash and grab by then. Maybe, I hope so. The only thing we learn from history is we don't learn from history, says David Lilly. In the past, David, there was more of an excuse because it was hard to get information. You know what? You might watch a documentary on the TV, but you couldn't look it up afterwards. You couldn't if you wanted to find stuff out, I'd done this before where I talked about the process of finding out. What was the example I gave you? Who was the finance minister under Louis XIV when he was a child and it was the regency with the Queen in charge? What was his name? How did you find that out? It wouldn't be in an encyclopedia necessarily that you had in the house. Unless you had a specific history book about the Sun King, about Louis XIV. You might not have that. Just being able to, find that out. You might think, oh well, I saw I remember watching D'Artagnan and the Three Muskehounds. Wasn't he Count Cardinal Richelieu? Wasn't that him? No, he died or something. Someone else took over. What was his name? All right. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll walk out my house in the rain to the bus stop. It takes about 10 minutes. And then I'll get the number 10 into town, right? Which takes about an hour. And then I'll go in the rain to the central library, and I will go and look through little cards, pull out a little card on French history, on the history of Louis XIV. And then you'll find a book. Maybe it'll be there, maybe it will. It isn't, but eventually you'll find a book off the shelf. You'd have to go and sit down at a table, open the book, and start skim reading it, trying to find out, where the bit is about the finance minister. Look for the word finance all over the page somewhere. Where does it say finance? Where does it say... Until you actually got the answer of who the fucking finance minister was. And then you find it in a paragraph and it says, oh, he was called Mazarin, right? So you find it says, oh, he's called Mazarin. When did he start? When did he end? Like, what was his beat? Like, I need some fast facts and you digest this for me. No, it's just read the book. Read the fucking book. Find out, you know? So, in the past, more of an excuse for not learning from the past, especially when 99% of the population was illiterate. Nowadays, 99% of the population is literate, and we have the internet, and there is no excuse. There's no excuse for going back to these bad old days, and for somehow retconning them as a good thing. You can't retcon these things as a good thing. It's not like a shit movie that's so shit it's good. It is just shit, and people suffer and people die. And if you honestly believe that you will not know anyone who will suffer in any way, shape, or form through Trump's presidency, then I've got a bridge to sell you, because you know you're on another planet. Power to the people! £5 super chat! Woo! First super chat of the day. Thank you to Power to the people in capitals, all in caps. Which is difficult because when I put your name on the end, you know, I can't split it over 2 lines. So if you're on the end of a line, I have to. Anyway, your morning rants are becoming even more entertainingly sweary than my vids. Keep it up, Graham. You're a beacon of sense in a fucked up world. Well, I don't know about that, but thank you very much for the compliments. I don't know if I'm a beacon of sense. I'm a beacon of sweary rage at the moment. Yeah, so you know, there's going back to Musk as well. Like, what he's trying to do, he's trying to destabilize and weaken the EU. Clearly, I think the EU should stand firm against him. I think they should ban Teslas and just say, sorry, it's a Nazi car. We're not having swastikas on our roads. But what they can do more quickly than that is banning Twitter. Twitter should be banned in the EU. I think it should be banned in the UK as well. It should just be outright banned. It is a toxic hellhole, a hellscape, and it is funding and encouraging terrorism. It's encouraging people to do things like January the 6th, etc. Well, not when it happened, but like, you know, doing it again. Obviously, Trump encouraged it in the first place, but yeah, ban it, ban Starlink, ban fucking any fucking SpaceX rockets. Say that the SpaceX rockets are too noisy. Say they're too noisy, because that's what the Americans said about Concorde. They said it was too noisy because they didn't invent it first, and it couldn't fly over America because it was too noisy. Yeah. I mean, they are noisy. I won't doubt that. But you know, when I'm walking in North Wales up a mountain and a jet goes past, it's fucking exciting. I'm sorry, it just is. It's like you see this thing streak across the sky, and you're like, "What the fuck was that?" And then you hear the noise, because obviously it's going faster than the sound, and it's like, whoa, that. It's like complaining about thunder. I don't know. I mean, if it was a constant noise, then fair enough. But it is going at twice the speed of the sound. So the sound doesn't hang around too long. But that's beside the point. That's what they said. That we didn't want Concorde because it made too much noise. Let's say that same thing about SpaceX. Let's say the same thing about Starlink satellites. They make too much noise, don't they? Screaming above our heads. All 10,000 of them. Nick and Dave, history for me at school was the Cheshire Bogman, very interesting, and the royal family, deeply uninteresting. I would have enjoyed history more if we didn't study entitled inbreds. Well, the problem is, now we are absolutely governed by, you know, privileged inbreds, aren't we? That's what Trump is. That's what Elon Musk is, and all the people around them. They're all just fucking nepo babies, all PSM hires. And then Musk as himself, let's go back to Musk, he's benefited massively from funding, from money from the American taxpayer that's been given to his fucking companies like Starlink and SpaceX and Tesla as subsidies. He's benefited from that, and now he's whinging about other people getting subsidies for stuff, you know, like US aid getting subsidies from the US taxpayer to save children's lives, to save the lives of babies. That's something that I think is really important, and that's something that should be done. But, you know, if you're the richest country in the world, you should give a little, I feel. You should just try and keep it all for yourself. But the maddening thing is about this late stage capitalism bullshit is that once the worth of a currency, once it's completely divorced from industry, which is what Trump and Musk are trying to do, then the global economic situation is going to fucking collapse. It will burst like a bubble, because you can't just say things are worth something because I want them to be worth something. I know that we can print currency and call it quantitative easing. I know that there are technical instruments that we can use. But at the end of the day, a house is worth a house. A car is worth a car. If you have a physical commodity, it has a certain value attached to it. If you take away the ability to give a value to that thing, and what do we enter a fucking barter scheme? Do we barter 5 cars for a fucking house? Like, what? It's not going to happen. But the American dollar is the reserve currency for the world. And the way that economies are going all over the world, like the German economy slowed down, the French economy slowed down, the British economy slowed down massively. The Bank of England yesterday revised its growth forecast from 1.5% to 0.75%. I think they halved it to 0.75%, or maybe it was 0.5%. It was fuck all. Not like the growth we enjoyed in the first 10 years of the previous Labour administration, when our economy doubled in size from $1.5 trillion to $3 trillion, which it's just stayed at since 2008. 2008, that was our high water mark, and we've just sort of bobbed around in the same level of ocean ever since. Unlike the real ocean, which has actually gone up a few inches. Chris C, thank you very much. Musk is pure evil. The world needs to take notice. Absolutely, Chris C. Thank you for the super chat. You are awesome. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He is a pure evil motherfucker. And we need to call him out. We need to tell people who are driving Teslas, you are driving a Nazi car. You are driving a Hitler car. And don't let them gaslight you. Don't let them go, oh, it's a Roman salute. Don't you know anything? No, fuck off. The only people, right, so there's this line, you know, there was a term that they used in World War II, right? When they were fighting the Nazis, they had a term that they used for people who made excuses for Nazis, okay? Do you know what that term was? You know what that special little term was? Nazi. That was the term they used. They called people who supported the Nazis Nazis because they were Nazis. We need to make that very clear. There wasn't another special word that we used. We didn't call them appeasers, or we didn't call them collaborators. We called them Nazis. Nazi appeasers, Nazi collaborators. Very important that we put the word Nazi in there, because we saw them as Nazis. We saw the Vichy regime in France as a bunch of fucking Nazis. All right? French Nazis, but Nazis nonetheless. Bastards. Anyway, so, I mean, there's... Musk has got unchecked power at the moment. The House Oversight Committees in America, in Congress, which is supposed to look at what people are doing in terms of money in America. The Republicans are doing what they always do and blocking it at every step. And the fucking Democrats, seriously, need to grow a fucking brain, need to grow a fucking spine, and start blocking stuff. They voted for Marco fucking Rubio to be fucking Secretary of State. What the fuck? Why? Why not just block it? Why not say we're not going to have a hearing for this person? We're going to fucking, you know, they did this last week, didn't they? Or earlier this week, they spoke through the night to stop a hearing going on. More stuff like that, please. Be obstinate. Be obstructive. You know, these people who work at the FBI or USAID or whatever, and you got these fucking creeps coming in with the fucking USB pen, stealing all the data, the US financial data. Like, fucking fuck their lives up, you know. Smash up the computers, tell them where the fucking lights are. You know, put viruses on their fucking hard drives. You know, do all the things that you can do just to make their lives a fucking misery. Don't cooperate. You know, piss on the keyboard so they've got to type on a fucking pissy keyboard. You know, just do stuff that fucks things up. Sabotage. Sabotage their fucking efforts. The Nazis are in power in America. It's very important that if you have the ability to sabotage anything that they want to do, fucking sabotage them. And if that means staying up all night, filibustering, threatening a filibuster, whatever you need to do, just fucking do it. But don't vote for what the Nazis want. If the Nazis want Marco Rubio to be Secretary of State, don't vote for it. Just say no. Just say fuck off. We're going to make it really difficult for him to become that person. Just do it. Just make it really difficult for them. But at the moment, the footage I've seen of like Democrats going, well, the right honourable lady, please consider the people who are suffering in my constituency. And I'm like, oh, fuck off. Where's the fire? We talked about this yesterday. Where's the fucking fire? The house is on fire. Get out the house. Ring the fucking fire brigade. Do something. They're sitting there like the little dog in the little meme, having a drink of tea, saying everything's fine. Can Musk destroy NASA? Yes, Musk can destroy NASA. He probably will. He'll take it over. He'll defund anyone who's not his company, SpaceX. He will make sure that everyone else gets defunded. Everyone else who's in receipt of government money, any of his competition. And it was asked in the Congress, I think it was yesterday, who's got oversight over Musk and what he spends his what he decides is a conflict of interest or not. And the person with oversight of Musk is Musk. Great system, dickheads. Anyway, so yeah, and then the fact that Musk's sort of financial backing and his social media platform is owning Twitter, this outsized influence that he has is gonna make the far right rise all over the world. He's already done it in the UK with just even saying he was going to give money to refuck has done them really well in the polls. I don't think that the polling data is quite as worrying yet. It might get more worrying in the future, but at the moment the support for refuck is very spread out, and I guess they are that they've got to back Trump in some way. And I think for most Brits, Trump is absolutely unpalatable because he's disgusting. He's a disgusting orange blob who's a Nazi. And he's clearly a fucking Nazi. So if you don't like Nazis, you're not going to vote for those motherfuckers, are you? If you do like Nazis, sure, vote for reform. You obviously like Nazis. But also, talking of Nazis, the party, what are they called? The Tory party, those dickheads. So they haven't condemned Trump's words about ethnic cleansing in Gaza. They haven't said shit. They haven't said fucking shit. We have a black woman as the leader of the Conservative Party, and they are not concerned about a racist Nazi oligarch government of America doing something like that, thinking, nah, they'll be fine. Which is, it's almost as naive as Israel, or the government of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, thinking he can side with Nazis, the enemy of my enemy and all that shit, yeah, to take out the people of Gaza, right, to destroy Gaza, to wipe Gaza off the map. They can team up and do that, yeah. Team up with the Nazis. Jews teaming up with the Nazis. Do you see the problem there, Benjamin? Do you see what might happen down the line? Do you think they're not going to turn on you, you stupid fucking dickhead? How many Jews are there in the world? It's less than 1% of the world population. A lot less than 1% of the world population. Yeah, good luck when the Nazis turn on you, mate, because there's going to be nowhere to go. There's going to be nowhere to go when Trump decides that maybe he doesn't just want Gaza. Maybe he wants all of Israel. Maybe he just wants the whole fucking place, the whole fucking Holy Land for himself as a private fucking Christian playground for anarcho-Christians to go over there with guns and Bibles and shoot anyone who looks at them funny or objects to them marrying their fucking sister. That's all I'm saying. Right, anyway, it's not all I'm saying. I'm going to say loads more. Tim Ballum, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. Tim, you are very kind. Remember, I sent you the link to the DEF CON video a long time ago. DEF CON 24, Southeast Village, Steve Zani, how to unwork your job. Yeah, I think this is really, really important. Graham's cut off. Graham Starling. Oh, did I go off again? I've been having problems. I had problems with my internet last night when I was trying to do my my stream. Although it doesn't say on me that I've dropped any frames, but I'm guessing it just breaks off now and again. Hi, Katrina Tam. How you doing? We've also got Jane Lockwood in the chat. I made a conscious decision to refuse to buy anything brand that's American. I love a lot of mates, a lot of their makeup brands, etc., but no more. British makers only now. Yeah, Jane, absolutely. British, European. I don't mind buying stuff from South Korea. I don't mind buying stuff from Japan. I'm talking on a Sony camera here. This is a Sony camera that I'm talking into. I've got another camera up there, which is a Samsung. My monitors are both Samsung. What else have I got? I've got a Blue Yeti mic that was donated to me kindly. Thank you. I don't know if that's American. Someone want to look up if Blue Yeti is American. Where does Blue Yeti come from? Where do Yetis come from? They come from the Himalayas, don't they? Nick and Diff, our company I was working for had to move to another location and use Starlink between moves. I was utterly appalled and made it known. I thought they were mad. I wonder what they think now. Indeed. Scott says, sounds ridiculous, but we need youth clubs and working men, people's clubs and the like back so people can get together rather than sitting in echo chambers. Scott, that doesn't sound ridiculous, mate. That sounds fucking sensible to me. That sounds like the most sensible thing that anyone said for a long fucking time. We absolutely need to build our communities again. Communities that are being atomized and ripped apart by successive Tory governments and Republican governments in America. We need to actually start having these conversations face to face with people, because it's very easy for people to put a laughing emoji on a story about a dead African child, but it's very difficult for them to do that in real life. It really is, because social structure, you just can't get away with that shit. Do you know what I mean? Katrina Tam, oh, thank you very much for gifting 5 Politics Social memberships. That's really kind of you. Alison there has got a membership, so has Mike Swell. We've got Nina Verenak, who's also got a membership. We've got Samantha Robinson. We've got Christine Hathaway Coley as well. You are all now members of Politics Social. Welcome, welcome. This is exciting, isn't it? And part of the people said, it doesn't sound ridiculous at all, Scott. It sounds perfect sense to me. It sounds perfect sense to me as well. We really need to start thinking about communities and getting and rebuilding communities to get people away from these echo chambers. And I hate getting told that I'm in a fucking echo chamber, because it's to presuppose that I live in a world where I don't have to see what's on the front cover of the Daily fucking Heil every day. But I do. I see what the other side are saying. The thing is, if you only read the Daily Heil, they don't see what we're saying. They're the ones in the echo chamber, because they don't see any other side of the argument. They don't see what the other people are saying. We're just dismissed as woke DEI hires by the grotesquely mediocre PSM hires. Privateschoolmafia.com. Go and have a look at the list. Anyone gives you any shit about private schools and how great they are and how they shouldn't have to pay tax and all that kind of shit, or be expected by Ofsted, tell you what, go and have a look. Go and have a look at the privateschoolmafia.com. Show them that. Just scroll through the list. Say, hey, do you want to see some household names? It's literally fucking everyone. It's everyone. But apparently that's the politics of envy, isn't it? Anyway, moving on. I'm going to do the papers now. Yay! What have we got? We've got Welcome to Lucyland. What? That doesn't make any sense. So there's a show called Amandaland, which is a spin-off from Motherland that's coming out. So yeah, that's a show. It's on the front cover of the Mirror. It's apparently the heart of Britain. Is it? Okay. And this is TV chef Giano's sexual and aggressive comments, multiple claims of inappropriate and intimidating behavior by Gino da Campo, Italian celebrity chef on the telly, doing a really great job there of making people think that all the stereotypes of pushy, sexually aggressive Italian men are real. Thanks for that, Gino, you fucking dickhead. Right, anyway, the death of soaps. Have you turned off? Asked the Times newspaper. Really important thing there. And then I am the millennial Bridget Jones. It says here. I mean, I don't know where that's going, but whatever. We've got banks alert on growth gives Reeves new setback. Interest rate cut dampened by gloomy forecast. So the interest rate's been cut by 0.25%, but they've also revised the growth, what they think we're going to get this year in terms of growth. Oh, maybe we could join a single market. Maybe we could join a customs union. Maybe we could re-step towards the EU, our biggest trading partner. There's a picture of Angelina Jolie there, who she's only 49. Angelina Jolie's only 49. I thought she was older than that. Sorry, that sounds awful, doesn't it? But there you go. She's only 3 years older than me. Katrina Tam, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. I had a friend from university who was decent then. He only reads the Daily Mail and watches GB News and has literally become almost a Nazi now. I'm sorry to hear that, Katrina. But again, it's why we need to get people out of these bubbles, because the people with money and the PSM hires, they absolutely dominate the means of communication, and we don't get a say. We can make shows like this, and Femi can make stuff, and Zoe can make stuff, and Super Tansky and Aid and all our other friends, but they don't get anywhere near as much coverage as GB News. Not people watching it, but people sharing the clips. And then you've got Twitter, which is owned by an out-and-out Nazi. Zuckerberg owns Facebook, which has gone all fucking Nazi in the last couple of weeks, in America, at least. But there you go. Private schools, watch the movie Scent of a Woman. Hoo-ha! Departure boards, lost trains, anger passengers. Network Rail has infuriated commuters by removing train listings from departure boards early in an attempt to stop people from rushing to get on board. Okay, that's a fun story, isn't it? I mean, I've been infuriated by those boards for years because they have to cycle like old teletext through the next page. And it's like there's 3 pages and you run because you're late and you just want the information in front of you. But rather than having the information for the next 17 trains that are going to be arriving and what platform they're arriving at on the screen at all times, and it just updates as they go and they come up new ones at the bottom. Instead of just doing that, it's got to cycle through 3 pages really fucking slowly, and the last page is a fucking advert. Like, fuck off. Just fuck the fuck off. It drives me up the fucking wall, that does. Anyway, we've got we've got the lady from Wicked there. Wicked won the Oscar-nominated British star Cynthia Erivo, who plays Alphabet in the film Wicked, is the center of attention after being named Woman of the Year at Harvard University's Hasty Pudding Theatricals Parade. Well, that's nice, isn't it? Fears over stagflation as Reeves' growth plan suffers double blow. So we've already discussed that. New growth and inflation warning piles pressure on Reeves to boost flagging economy by forging closer relations with the EU. Oh, it doesn't say that. Damn. It should do that. Bank of England forecasts higher inflation and lower growth as cuts interest rates by 0.25% in an effort to boost Britain's